Hey, what's up, guys? So, as you all know by now, just recently, only a few days ago, we had a new structure deck dropping, and it is the Fire King structure deck. A pretty good deck, I must say, and I just got first place with it, so I figured I might show you the build and discuss the deck and the strategy overall a little bit. It's still pretty new. I think the deck still has a lot of room left to explore, and this is really only just the first version of it, because as we all know, in a few weeks and months we will get a lot of new fire support, and really support that this deck will benefit from the most. Of course, I'm talking about Bonfire, the Promethean Princess, Snake Eye Populace, and things like that. So this is just kind of the beginning of this deck, and it is a good beginning, I must say. It's pretty strong. This is, I think, the best version of this deck, the most optimal build right now, but I will also show you some other budget alternatives if you guys will be interested in it. But anyways, let's hop into the deck profile. My matchups were actually pretty meta relevant. I played against Unchained, Vanadium, Unchained again, and Tearlaments, and I was 4-0. I won every matchup. I only lost 2 games the whole day, and yeah, people were really surprised with how well this deck plays, and I'm sure that because people aren't really familiar with it yet, they don't really know how to play against it. So that's certainly a factor as well. But nevertheless, the deck is pretty strong. So let's get right into it. So first, of course, you have your 2 Garunics. This is the boss monster of the deck. You usually want to search it with Fire King Island, and it sees the destruction that Fire King Island does when you activate it. So you can special summon it and then pop a card. You can destroy a card even in your deck, so it's really good. You know, you can't edge that. So unless you run into an Imperm or a Veiler or a Ghost Mourner, your effect will resolve, and you know, this is when a lot of the fun actually begins. And this is why you play 3 Kirin. This is usually the card that you do want to destroy from your deck with Garunics, and then you can bring another Fire King back from your graveyard, and you can non-targeting destroy any card on the field. Sometimes you actually want to pop something that's yours to trigger something else. Sometimes you obviously just, you know, get rid of a problematic card that your opponent has, and you can also special summon it during any main phase. So it actually serves as quite a big actually play starter or extender even during your opponent's turn. But to get to all of that, you do need 3 legendary Fire King Panics. This card is great. You really want to see it as soon as possible, and it can search your Sanctuary or your Island or some other cards, spell or traps, if you already have, you know, your main cards in hand all ready to go. But yeah, you really just want to get this guy out, and whenever he's destroyed, he comes back into your hand during the next standby phase. So he's just always coming back, and this is what this deck does. You destroy everything, your opponents destroy everything you have, and you actually want that to happen because you will get everything back, and well, your opponents usually won't, right? So another big and important card therefore is Arvata. It's a monster negate, and when it's popped, you can bring back a monster from your graveyard, a Fire King. It has its effects negated, but that's not really important because just the summon back is really good. It's really important, and oftentimes you actually bring Arvata back when Kirin is popped. You bring Kirin back when Arvata is popped, but you know, it always depends on the situation. Then just 1 Rangbali. It's, you know, it's fine. It's a spell trap negate, and whenever it does come up, it is actually good, right? When you can put it on the field, it doesn't have a special summon effect like Arvata does, but rather you can special summon this guy from your hand if your face-up fire card gets destroyed, but it can, be tricky to put it out because you can't really like chain block it or do anything like that. It's if you activate that, you can't really activate Garunix. So, usually sometimes it can be a bit tricky to bring him out, but it's still a name, it's still a body, and it's good to have for now as a one-off. And it does come up. I mean, whenever I did summon this guy, he did his work, right? He negated, he destroyed my monster, and I could just snowball from there on. One Barong to just round up the Fire King lineup. It's good. You usually want to pop this turn 1 with your Garunix, and then in the next standby phase it just gives you a search. So that's how you usually put your Kirin in hand. So Barong is good because of that. And even if you draw it, it's not the worst thing. You can still destroy him with Fire Island or any card really, right? So with this deck, you're not really mad with drawing cards that you usually want to pop, because you can pop them in many, many ways, right? So it's always good. It's always good. But yeah, 1 is enough. You just, destroy him once. He gives you what you need, and then you can always bring him back with Arvada or something if, you need to go through all that again. Now, I do play the Bellstar engine, the Wanted engine, or however you want to call it. It's just good. It's more than good. It's pretty much like the best way to play this deck, and you do, I think, have to run it if you want to play the best version of this deck right now, right? I mean, you can activate Wanted in the draw phase, you can play around Draw and Lockbird. If it gets ashed, usually it's not that big of a deal, because, you should still have other options in your hand, but it just gets everything going. And of course, our Ponyx is level 1, so you do summon him out with the original Sinful Spoils and the Bellstar. Yeah, it's just a good engine. And also when, you have these 2 cards in grave, you can also get a free draw as well. So it is rather expensive right now, but if you have it, it is the best way to play this deck right now. So I definitely suggest it. But as I said, there are other options, and if you want to see them, just leave a like, let me know, and I can do some other deck profiles with the Fire Kings as well. Moving on, this is also kind of part of the Wanted engine, right? Snake Eye Ash is another target that you can special summon with your spell, and it can also search your Ponyx, and it's good to have. And then Flamberge is also a really good card. It enables you, more plays. You can go into Appaloosa, you can bring back your Ash and your Ponyx from graveyard, and you can just make, more link plays and just further extend your combo. So I do think it's pretty good, especially because, as I said, I think having another Sinful Spoils target is really important, and we don't have the Snake Eyes populace yet. So regardless, this still works, right? And then when we get that in Phantom Nightmare, you will still play Ash, you will play Populous, the deck will be even better, but it's really good right now, and I think you should already be playing this part of the package as well. And then just one more monster, it's one Kurara. The reason why I play this is because you can actually search it with Snake Eye Ash. This is a level 1 fire monster, and Snake Eye Ash does exactly that. He will add you a level 1 fire monster, so why not add Kurara if you already have your Ponyx? Your opponent will just have another strong card that he has to think about, that he has to consider when he's making his plays, and just that intimidation factor actually is really important. A lot of decks in the meta, trigger monster effects during your turn, so you can actually put this out quite easily. And even if you don't, it's fine. You can pop it with your island, you can pop it with your Kirin to special summon him. So even if you don't get to summon it and it's in your hand, you can still pop it and just get your other plays going. So it's definitely worth running, and as I said, it's just another target for Ashe as well, and people don't really expect it, they don't really see it coming, because nobody thinks about Kurara as a level 1 fire monster. So when you add it, they're like, oh, I have to worry about that as well right now. So I would definitely suggest it, and if you don't like it, I mean, it's a one-off, so it's easy to cut, but I say play it and keep it, and it will pay its dividends. Then for the spells, obviously 2 Island, and I play 2 Sanctuary. The reason is because it's not that difficult to get your plays going, and the Sanctuary isn't really a starter per se. It places your Fire King Island, and sometimes it's just not enough to have Sanctuary in hand, so that's why you usually just want to search it with Panics. And 3, I feel like it's too bricky. You usually only play 1 and resolve 1 during your games. So 3, I don't really think it's necessary. You could, I guess, play 3 Sanctuary and 2 Panics, but I feel like because we play the Wanted engine, it's really easy to get into Panics, meaning that it's really easy to get into Sanctuary. So this just leaves more deck space for some other cards, and I never had problems with it. It was always fine, perfect, and right now I wouldn't change it. And then we have 2 more Fire King cards. It's Skyburn and Circle. Both are great. Skyburn, pops your monsters and the opponent's cards as well, and Circle, does pretty much the same thing for you. You pop 1 to bring 1 back, and it's great because with these 2 cards you basically trigger everything that you already have in your grave, and you just get rolling from there on out. And another layer of interruption, especially when you are able to search Skyburn with Panics, you set it, and then again it's another card that will make an impact during your opponent's turn. Oftentimes you actually want to use Sanctuary to get into your XYZ, you blow up the field, you still have this card set, then you blow up your own card, your own XYZ, you get back your monsters because of its effect, and you basically get your whole field back, and you blow up your opponent's field twice. So it's great, and yeah, I think you need to play both, because Circle is just another target for the Panic search. You usually search Sanctuary. If you have it, you go for this, but Panics always comes back to your hand, so it's good having another target that actually comes up, and it does come up. I played a grindy game against Unchained round 1. We played for like 30 minutes, and he was all out of resources. I also used a lot of my cards as well, but Panics came back. I searched this, I popped my own Panics, and then I brought back my Garunix, my Kirin, my Arvata. I mean, basically everything. So it was really good. Moving on, we have 2 more spells. It's Tanky. Tanky is good. You go into Arvata, you go into Rank Bali, or even Barong if need be. And also this has a lot of synergy with the Sinful Spoils package as well, because you can just send this to summon your Bellstar. So it's free. It's really free, and the only bad thing about this card is that you can get drolled after you search your Beast Warrior, but other than that, as I said, it's just free in this deck, and you really, for now, should definitely look to play it. And now for the cards that are also giving you a chance to always play with your opponent when you're not going first, or when you don't have a lot of resources going for you. Of course, the hand traps. So keeping it short and simple, we play 3 Ashe, 3 Effect Veiler. I play 3 Crow. This can be Nibiru, this can be any hand trap you really want, but I don't think Droll is really good right now, and our scene is really Unchained heavy, and it hits not only that, but decks like Tirlament and others as well. And it makes a bigger impact than Nibiru does. So I mained it, and it was good. It was good. You know, against Unchained, you DD Crow the Blue Dog, the Shayama, and your opponent immediately loses one of their most important resources. So DD Crow, it's a really good card, and I think it's definitely worth running, right? And then just to round it all off, we have 3 Imperms. It's just really good, and you know, it's a card that everybody plays, and everybody plays it for good reasons. So this is the main deck, 41 cards. As I said, I wouldn't really change anything right now. I think this is pretty optimal, but you know, you can always cut a card or two if you want to. As I said, you know, Kurara, or if you don't like fire, Circle of the Fire Kings, you know, you can make it an even 40, but I never had problems. And I never bricked. I didn't brick once, so it's really consistent, and I feel like it's optimal. But anyways, moving to the extra deck, I played 2 Garunix Eternity. Realistically, you only need 1, because most of the time when you summon the 1, usually off of Sanctuary, you blow up the whole field, and usually from there on out you're able to OTK your opponent. So the second one never really comes up, but the extra deck has a lot of space as of right now. It's kind of a toolbox, so you know, running 2 is fine. It's you know, you can't go wrong with it, and you know, it can come up sometimes as well, right? Especially if you bring him out early and the game continues, you know, then you usually lose your Sanctuary play, so it's good to, you know, have another one as well. Ningirsu, just another rank 8. This is good because it doesn't destroy, it sends. So if you play against Unchained, or even if you play a mirror match, you know, you're not going to trigger anything, you're just going to send the card, and they can't really do anything about it. It's easy to make, and it's a good option to have. It didn't really come up. You don't really need your extra deck that much as of right now, but you know, that's why you run this card. You run it to have as an option. Same as with 1 Zeus, 1 Typhoon. Zeus, I didn't really summon it at all, but I did summon Typhoon. It's good because you can usually, you know, blow up your whole field. Sometimes not everything is able to come back immediately. You need to wait, you know, until the next turn or whatever. And then this is good to just kind of clean up whatever is left on the field. And that's exactly what happened. I did it against Unchained, and it did mess them up. You know, everything came back from my graveyard the next turn, and well, on the other side of the field, it didn't really happen because their resources were used up. You know, Yamas were already banished, traps were already almost all being used up. So yeah, you know, Star Slayer definitely comes up sometimes as well. Then for the links, you run quite a few of them actually. You run 1 Amblovale. This card isn't that important right now. You still kind of need to wait for the Promethean Princess, but it can come up. It can bring you back your Masquerena if you already used it, and you know, it's good. It's good to have. Hitsoul is amazing. Hitsoul sometimes wins you games on his own because it requires kind of a 2-card combo, but it's really easy to achieve. You draw 2 cards, and a lot of the resources that you used to make him, you know, you're just gonna get back anyways. So it's pretty free, and it's really good. And I can definitely show you the combo, how to put Hitsoul out in a later video. Then we have Sunlight Wolf, we have Link Rebo. These 2 are important to actually get Hitsoul out. So this is part of the combo, and you know, this is a fire as well. You need Link Rebo, he's a dark, because you can't use 2 fires to make Hitsoul. So just something to keep in mind. But we do have a Link 1 that's fire, that's Almirage. It can come up, you know, if you need to put something in grave, you know, like a Ponyx. So that's why I run it. And then, of course, 1 IP, which you usually use to get into SP Little Knight. We all know how good this card is, but don't think that you need it to play this deck, because I don't think I summoned it once throughout the whole tournament, and I won every round. But it's good. It's good to have. It's, again, easy to make. You're not really locked into anything, and sometimes if your opponent stops you or whatever, you just slap 2 monsters, which is quite easy, and you make this, and it's another layer of interruption. So of course you play it, but if you don't have it, Nightmare Unicorn is just as fine, and as I said, you don't really go into it that much, so you don't have to worry about it. 1 Appaloosa, this is for the Flamberge. It can come up, and it's Appaloosa. It's good if you can make it. You're feeling good about yourself. 1 Hida is good for the mirror match, and it will definitely come up more in the future, but you can also bring your opponent's Ash Blossom back with this, and then you have more bodies for a Link 3 play or whatever you need, so it's good to have. And then the last card is another Charmer. It's dark. This can be anything, but a lot of people play Bestials. They play just decks that have a lot of dark monsters, Labyrinth, and pretty much every deck in the meta, to be honest. So this actually comes up, in theory a lot of times, and again, it's good to give you another resource that you can, link off with or make a push or whatever. So, this is definitely a part of the deck that will get a lot stronger later on. As I said, Promethean Princess will change this deck quite a bit, and then we will have a lot more new combos and lines to go into. But even without it, you usually win anyways, right? So yeah, this is definitely still a work in progress, but regardless, that is the deck list. Just quickly, the side deck. The side deck, could be better. I kind of, made it quickly, didn't think too much about it, but side deck is usually, player preference, a meta call, whatever. So depends on your locals and whatnot. But anyways, I put in 3 Nibiru's. I said that I main Crows, so Nibiru in the side is good. Dogwood for time. This is because we don't really have a way to win in time. We don't really have anything that burns, which is, I guess, kind of funny because we play a fire deck, Fire Kings. We even have, Skyburn, a card that literally says burn in its name. But yeah, we can't really burn our opponents. So for now, I just put in Dogwood, and if I'm good enough to draw it, maybe I can win the game. 3 draws. I mean, it's good against decks like Vanadium, and it does come up. I don't think it's good enough to be in the main deck right now, but again, it's player preference, and it's always a good option to have. And then to round it all off, just 3 anti-spells and 3 Evenlys, just generically good cards. This can deal with, basically anything, right? Rogue decks, and like even Unchained, has problems if you drop evenly. And then anti-spell, again, it can hit a lot of decks and just slow them down, and if you get to turn 3, you can very easily just OTK your opponent. So anti-spell sometimes literally gives you that one more turn and you're able to win the game. So this is the whole deck profile, guys. If you liked it, leave a like, let me know. What do you think about the Fire King strategy? There's a lot to be excited about when we're talking about this deck, and a lot of just good support cards that are on its way that will actually make this deck really good, because right now we don't know how good it is. It has a few tops at YCS Bologna, that's amazing, but it's new. We have to see, what will happen when people get used to the deck. But it will get stronger. We will get Bonfire, we will get Promethean Princess, we will get Populous, and this will probably make the deck a tier 1 contender. But I suggest playing it now People aren't prepared for it. They don't know what the cards do, and that gives you a really good chance to beat anyone. As I said, I beat basically the whole meta, and it won me another Kurara. So yeah, I guess it is really the year of fire, guys. And yeah, if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.